It's a pleasure. Sorry. Hello.
Like you're supposed to put it to birth.
I started.
You started? Am I supposed to go?
Go.
Okay.
Hello.
I gotta find my.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
I'm so together today. Hey, everybody. I'm gonna get started. Yasmeen has to be out of here at a specific time, so we want to make sure that she has the allotted time she needs. I want to thank you all for coming and to back Rally Together Indivisible. We are live streaming, and they're going to be on 3 different. You'll have one for Yasmeen, one for Dan, and one for Kevin. So they'll all be separate. And this way, we figured we'd do it for them this way so they would have marketing tools. We have 3 candidates tonight because we are trying to take into consideration all of the candidates that Rally Together are interested in. The 3 candidates here tonight are Yasmeen Bankole, Kevin Mortensen, and Dan Tully. Tonight, I'd like to ask them to go more into their family history and what through their lives made them decide that they really want to run for Congress. I've been to several different events, and it was really nice getting to know some family background to the candidates. Because we don't know, they're just somebody that comes, everyone says, I can do this and I can do, where did you come from? And sometimes it makes a difference. I think so. And then second, there's been a lot of misinformation going around about PAC money. So I would like each candidate to tell me if they're accepting PAC money and where that PAC money is coming from. I found out the other night that there are all different kinds of PACs. There are veterans PACs, there are equality PACs, and when they put down there just PACs, it leaves too wide open a gap for somebody to say, you're accepting PAC money, but we don't know where that PAC money is coming from. So let's give everybody an equal chance. So, okay, Yasmeen, I'm going to let you do your own intro.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
Can you lie on microphone?
Yeah, we have a. Oh, sorry. No, it's okay. Here, we put it on.
I'm like in another world.
There you go. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. No problem. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vonda. It's a pleasure to be with all of you this evening. Again, my name is Yasmeen Bankole, and I'm really, really proud to share that I'm running for Congress in this district, in the 8th Congressional District. I do want to just express my sincere thanks and gratitude to Julie. She is a really incredible leader and a trailblazer in her own right. She has helped so many of us throughout the 10 months that we've been on the campaign trail. She's held events so that you could learn a little bit more about us. And so I just want to give you your flowers now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, just a little bit about me. I am Illinois born and raised. I'm a local elected official in Hanover Park, Illinois. And I also spent the past 8 years working for Congress, both in the U.S. House of Representatives and in the Senate. Just a little bit more about my background. I was born in Chicago, raised in the northwest suburbs, in Hoffman Estates in Hanover Park. Attended schools in U46 school district, went to Lake Park High School in Roselle. Spent many, many years working at the Schaumburg Library. My mother worked there as well for over 20 years. Went away for school, came back, and decided to continue and really start a career as a public servant. And so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right out of grad school, I started to work for then first-term Congressman Roger Krishnamurthy. So worked for him during his first term and into his second term. And I helped build portions of his freshman office, really worked hard on constituent services, but we also spent a lot of time just weathering the daily storm of the first Trump administration. now I think we're so used to his tweets and his statements that he makes, daily statements. But back then, if you remember, after the 2016 election, we thought, he's president now, he'll, be presidential. And that's just not what happened. And so it was a lot of chaos this first couple of years. We didn't get a lot done, but I learned a lot. So after a couple of years, I then went on to work for U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. I worked my way up, ultimately became his regional director, oversaw his affairs throughout northeastern Illinois, sometimes central Illinois, helped communicate legislation out of D.C., really tried to be his eyes and ears, but really also just learned a lot about the art of compromise, leading for decade after decade as an effective statesman, really. And really just also leading with empathy and kindness, because we all are on different life journeys. And I also learned a lot about our judiciary system. Senator Durbin was chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, which means all the federal judges, once they're nominated from the president, they go through the Judiciary Committee, hold hearings, and if they get through those hearings, then they become federal judges. So spent a lot of time on that as well. Outside of that, I serve as a trustee in the Village of Hanover Park. It's been an honor and a joy to serve my residents. I was elected in 2021 at the age of 27. I'm 32 now. I became the youngest trustee in our town's history. Immediately got to work. When I was elected, I created a water bill discount program because I didn't like how we were shutting off people's water due to non-payment. I truly believe that human is a water right. Water is a human right. And I think that local government should do all it can to keep your water on. And I worked with our PD to create public safety initiatives, and we're a very diverse town. So even a couple of years ago, I passed something called a welcoming ordinance. Some municipalities throughout the Chicagoland area have them, but essentially it says that no matter who you are or what you look like or who you pray to, we will respect you and we will not discriminate against you. And I did it due to some anti-immigrant sentiment that we were seeing, and fast forward to now, we're unfortunately still seeing that. And even just a couple of months ago, when ICE came to our town in Hanover Park and unfortunately took one of our police officers, and it made national news, I led another ordinance that says ICE cannot come to our community and put forth operations that are on village-owned properties, or police department, fire department lots, municipal lots, and things of that nature. And so now I am, we're 22 days out from the election. Spent the past 10 months on the trail. This has been the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life. I have experienced every emotion, and it has been an all-encompassing experience going through all different parts of the district, and hearing stories and lived experiences and the things that are top of mind for people, and the immediate issues that are top of mind for people. And there's so many things that I've taken away, but I think what I continue to hear, and what I also feel, is that so many of us are angry, and so many of us are anxious, and we all know that we deserve better, right? And so, a year into this chaos, a little over a year into this chaos, it's just very clear to me that we need new leadership. I just think that there has been such a lack of vision. There's been a lack of a clear, coordinated strategy to get us out of this mess. And we need a new generation of leaders who are bold and who are smart and who aren't beholden to corporate interests, and who will actually stand up for us when it matters most. And so there's lots of folks that are running in this race. I think there's a few things that set me apart. I have 8 years of experience, of federal legislative experience. Most people, when they run for Congress, they don't have any. I can hit the ground running on day one, and I just don't think we have time to wait. I really do not. I've been endorsed by elected officials and community organizations throughout the district. Have been endorsed by Senator Durbin and State Rep Michelle Mussman, and we're in Elk Grove Village right now. Was endorsed by the Elk Grove Village firefighters, and that means something to me because I do very strongly support our first responders. But I've been endorsed by a lot of organized labor, and that also means something to me because in many ways, organized labor is why we have a middle class. And I just think that so many of us are in the middle class. We are the majority, and politicians on both sides of the aisle have forgotten that we are the majority. And I think it's time that they prioritize us, or I should say reprioritize us. So I'll just close by saying that year after year, I have worked in this district. I have lived here. I have been deeply rooted here, and I've decided to stay here and bloom where I have been planted. And so I know I have not only the drive and the energy, but the experience to serve effectively in this role and to make so many of you feel seen and supported and proud. So thank you so much.
And yesterday she was out in the cold and her letter carriers were protesting in Schaumburg. Yasmeen was there, I was there, I missed Yasmeen. It was too cold for me.
Thank you, Julie. Yes, I have been endorsed by the State Association of Letter Carriers. I think we forget that letter carriers play a very vital role in our society. We depend on them for checks, medication, all sorts of tax documents through the mail. And I think that we currently have an administration right now that's been trying to privatize the USPS for quite some time. So was honored to receive their endorsement, was honored to stand in the cold with them yesterday, rallying for better wages and safe staffing. But thank you.
And
Yes, ma'am.
Julie was saying that the candidates would talk about their PAC support. Do you have any PAC support?
Yeah. So let's talk about funding, because that's a big one. So when we think about PACs, so PAC stands for Political Action Committee. And there's different types of PACs, and I think Julie already alluded to that. So there are organizations that create PACs so that their employees can contribute to these entities so that as a company or as an entity, they can support a specific candidate. There's also corporate PACs, and there's also super PACs. And so there's different types of PACs. So I will just, I've stated several times over that I do not accept any corporate PAC dollars. I'm one of the few in the race that does not accept corporate PAC dollars. I've seen the influence of corporate PAC dollars behind the scenes. It's hard to pass legislation and reform a system if the company that you're trying to reform from is also, supporting your candidacy. So I have been running a very grassroots campaign, and I'm really proud of that. I will say though that I am running as a pro-labor Democrat. I've received many endorsements from from organized labor, from the letter carriers and IBEW and the firefighters. I received their state endorsement as well. And I do want to mention that because these unions do have their own separate PACs. They're not super PACs, but they do contribute to candidates. And I have been a recipient of dollars from labor organizations. I will just, if I could just pivot. So right now in this race, and I'm really actually glad that Julie brought this up. Right now in this race, we have seen 3 super PACs from outside of the state of Illinois jump in to support former Congresswoman Melissa Bean. And they've all jumped in, I would say, within the past month. And it is more than concerning because they are dumping, like millions of dollars into our, little race in the Northwest suburbs. They are, so one super PAC is by the name of APAC, and they are funding ads for the former Congresswoman to the tune of $400,000 a week. Think about how much money that is. $400,000 a week. And so they're just pouring money. There's another AI PAC that is also spending money. I don't have the figures off the top of my head. And another AI PAC. And they've all come in for her. And it's because that's where her interests are. And if that's where your interests are, I don't know how then your interests or your priority can be your constituents, right? And so that's what I'll say about funding. Thank you.
Can you define super PAC? What is a super?
Yeah, so a super PAC essentially, thank you for clarifying. So there's different types of PACs. So there's, I mentioned the labor PACs before. So by law, by following guidelines from the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, they can, in a cycle, contribute $5,000. That is the max that they can give. But a super PAC can essentially not, how do I say this? Like not coordinate directly with a candidate, but can support them, because legally they cannot coordinate directly with a federal candidate, but support them in a way where they can still put out ads or mail to the tune of millions of dollars, because there really is no cap. And so the three entities that I mentioned before that are supporting the former congresswoman are super PACs. So they're not spending just $5,000, they're spending millions. And they're allowed to do it legally, which is why we need campaign finance reform. And it's again why I'm running a campaign with zero corporate PAC dollars. So thank you.
This might be a dumb question, I'm gonna ask it.
No, not a dumb question.
I told you I need to know more about this.
Yeah.
but- So what's in it for them? Why are they spending all this money on Melissa Bean? Are they buying her, or, I mean?
Yes. 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 You answered, yes. Yes.
So then she's beholden to what they want her to do.
Correct. So if there's legislation that comes up that hurts them, she won't vote for it. If there's legislation that comes up that helps them, she will vote for it. She'll champion it. But that's prioritizing a corporation out in New Jersey or somewhere else in a different state versus the people that elected you and that put you in office. So this is what happens, right? So there's different entities, they will funnel money towards you, they will support you. And then once you do get into these positions of power, they say, well, we help support you. We helped you get there. Or
But she has to
We
agree to
can-
let them do that, right? I
Say
mean,
that one more time.
She has to agree to let them do that, right?
she has to agree to let
To
them.
let the super PAC.
Like she has
support
to
it.
accept it,
No.
she has no
She-
say so in it?
No. So super PACs so legally, super PACs cannot
Well, that's what I mean,
coordinate
right.
with campaigns.
Right.
Let's say, let me try to give an example.
I'm just trying to understand, I think that's.
So she
Yeah.
can't say no?
I mean, she could, but if you are a person running for office where you have a clear track record of supporting corporations, right? Because she has a vote history, she worked for big banks, she worked on Wall Street, right? If that's what your track record is, if that's what you are essentially known for, right? She's been dubbed Wall Street's favorite Democrat. Then you're likely, right, to
Do a favor.
I don't want to put words in our mouth, but I will just say that maybe birds of a feather, flock together. So
You'd be more willing to give strong consideration to their.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Why does everything else have a cap? Like individuals have a cap, you can only donate this one. Why does a super PAC have no cap and they could pour in these hundreds of thousands of dollars being
Yes.
wasted? Like you said,
Yes.
on this little race.
Yeah, right. So it's something called Citizens United. So there was a legal argument that essentially stated that this was 2009, 2010, that essentially said that a corporation has the same rights as a human being. And I might get the legalese wrong, but that's essentially what it is. And so because of that, these super PACs legally, right, again, do not have to coordinate with the candidate directly, but legally, they have an unlimited amount of money that they can allocate towards opposing or supporting, their preferred candidate. And then again, legally, right, these traditional PACs or these PACs that are associated with labor unions or things of this nature have to follow the law, which is $5,000 is the amount. So it essentially goes back to this lawsuit that occurred back in, I think it was 2009 or 2010. I can't remember the year. And they won. The corporations won.
Yes,
So-
thank you, Supreme Court.
Yes. So that's why. Yeah. Which is why I think it needs to be overturned. There's a
Right.
movement called, End Citizens United. I'm with them. So, yeah. I don't know if there's any other questions. Maybe
How
not,
do you feel about establishing term limits? Because
Mhm.
personally, I believe that one of the best things that we could ever do in this, other than getting rid of all this backdoor money that's out there, that could be used for a lot better purposes. How do you feel about term limits? Because I also think that that's very important at every single level of government.
Yeah, so I think they should be on the table, right? I think that there are those that believe that they are institutionalists, and I think that in those cases they would rather uphold harmful institutions, or they would rather uphold this like fantasy of like bipartisanship that no longer exists. They would rather uphold these things than break down these systems and institutions that no longer exist. And I think that term limits could assist with that. I would love to also see term limits with the Supreme Court, right? I would love to see that. So I think it's something that should be on the table. Yes, ma'am.
What is your stance on Medicare for all?
Oh. Yes, I'm glad that we brought this up. So I am a staunch advocate for Medicare for all. And for a few reasons.
Yeah.
I think that healthcare feels like a luxury in this country. Like it really feels like a luxury. I think that in times of emergency, many of us would rather Uber to the hospital than take an ambulance because we're afraid of the bill that we're going to get. I think that with the amount of under and really just uninsured folks that we have in this country, it's about 80 to 85 million. I think that's crazy when we are quite literally the richest nation in the world. And so when we think about the fact that all the other industrialized countries have some form of single payer healthcare system and we don't, I think it's way past time that we had healthcare reform. So I'm a staunch advocate of Medicare for all, which falls under the umbrella of universal healthcare. There's some debate on, what type of, single payer healthcare system. I just think we need to just get the ball rolling. Like, let's start somewhere. Let's stop talking about it. Let's just do it. And I just think that healthcare is a human right. And I think that if we viewed healthcare as a human right in this country, which I don't think we do, we would have had this implemented quite some time ago. So thanks for the question. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else.
I'm gonna ask this question of everybody.
Okay.
We got a lot of great candidates in this race. Only one can win, and we're still in this uphill battle. If you do not win,
Mhm.
how are you gonna continue the fight?
Like in general, or
What are
this
you gonna,
race?
what is your plan? No, I mean, what is your plan to
Mhm.
continue to fight fascism, basically, the overthrow of our
Okay.
democracy?
Okay.
If you do not get elected.
Okay, yes, it's a good question. So I'm gonna answer it in two ways, but it's a good question. So one, I'm currently an elected, I'm currently a trustee I mentioned to you that I had to pass an ordinance, because ICE already came to our town. We've had to, we heard from the president that, ICE might descend onto our voting locations, right? And so we've already had to, work with election divisions. We fall in Cook and DuPage County. We've already started to prepare for that, beef up security. And so I would just say that when I think about fighting fascism, I think about state and local governments stepping up to the plate while the federal government is in shambles. I know that it's uncomfortable for some local governments. It's a job that they never thought that they would have to do, but the time is now. If you're going to lead, you need to lead now because your residents are depending on you. And if you can't lead in this way, you have to get out of the way because there's too much chaos. There's too much lawlessness. And so I really believe that state and local governments can do more to protect their residents, right? To ensure that their rights are respected. I really, really believe that. But since I do plan on winning, I will tell you some of the things that that I think set me apart when I think about what we can do in this moment as members of Congress. And so I think that there's a couple of things that we have not seen from these current members of Congress that are really, really frustrating. So I mentioned before that it seems like there is a lack of a clear, coordinated plan. And I think that that is due to a few reasons. I think that we need a paradigm shift as to how we think about the next 3 years, because I think that the Democrats keep offering an olive branch and we keep getting spit in the face. And so that's clearly not working. And so it's this paradigm shift, right? It's this shift from like being a leader in the Democratic Party to quite literally being a wartime leader, because that is what this is. This is war. I don't think that I greatly respect and am thankful for the leadership of Leader Jeffries, Leader Schumer, but they are not wartime leaders. That has been very clear for the past year and 2 months. We need a shift in the way that we're thinking. So the paradigm shift is first. I would say the next thing is having a system, reworking something that we're already all plugged into, and having maybe 10 to 20 leaders provide daily information and combat the untruths that come out of this administration every single day. So what do I mean by that? Well, every day, Mr. Trump gets online or one of his cabinet members and they just lie to us. And I would really, really appreciate it if our members of Congress, maybe 10 to 20 of them, young, old, some that have higher profiles than others, some that have been trusted voices for X amount of time, to say, hey, that's a lie. This is a lie because it breaks this law. We're going to prosecute this person. This is how long it's going to take. These are the members of Congress that are going to lead that effort and just provide us with information in real time, in an aggressive manner, every single day to combat what we are seeing, because it just seems like every single day it's a new lie. And we're just kind of like, okay, great. So what are the Democrats doing about it, right? All of us have been saying, hey, do something, do something, do something, and so it's crazy. And so if we had this continuous, mechanism of information always, I think it would help with some of our nervous systems, right? Like that we know that something is being done, that there is justice, right, being served, that there's some sort of accountability, and we just don't have that right now, right? I think that members of Congress think that we are like listening to C-SPAN, and we're not.
Well,
So, yeah.
Melanie Stansberry does that on Facebook.
She does.
Oh, okay.
from New Mexico.
Yeah, there should be like 19 more of her
Yeah.
on different topics, right? It shouldn't just only fall on her shoulders, right? It should be a platform that we're all plugged into, right? So we can easily get this information every day and know what's happening. Because it's really hard to go to the polls and vote for someone when you're like, is this a party that's worthy of my vote, right? Because there's just been a lot of disappointment. So it's the paradigm shift. It's the clear, coordinated strategy as it relates to communication, but it's also about what Congress can do, and Congress has the power of the purse. And so there's a couple of different things that I would implement, and I think that we could rally enough support to implement as well. Number one is when we think about appropriations, there's two different ways that I believe some of this chaos could stop. Number one is that if Donald Trump is going to illegally claw back dollars that were already appropriated the previous fiscal years, I don't know why we would then continue to give him more money. And so I would propose that if there are federal agencies and those employees that are going to continue to break the law, that we withhold their pay. Why am I paying you 6 figures to break the law? We should withhold your pay. We should withhold your FERS, which is federal retirement. We should withhold your thrift savings. These are not things. I mean, I don't wake up every day and go to work and break the law. I don't know why I would continue to pay you to do that. It's insane. So that is something actually that Congress can do. There's a clause that actually says that you can drop an employee's pay to $1. I don't know of any employees that's going to wake up at 8 a.m. and go to work for $1 pay, right? That is a power that we have. I also would just withhold our vote, right? I would withhold our vote as a caucus. I don't think that the caucuses are being utilized enough. The caucuses are generally used for legislation. I think we should caucus for withholding our vote. It's really, really, really frustrating to me when members of Congress get on Twitter or Facebook and they say, I voted no because I don't believe that what we're seeing is right, but the legislation still passes. Okay, so you voted no, but what is that going to do for me and for everyone else that this legislation is now going to hurt because it passed? Why not use the caucuses that we have, the ideological caucuses, the ethnic caucuses, right? There's a Hispanic caucus, a Black caucus, this caucus, that caucus, right? There's 40, 50, 60, 80 members in there. Why not as a caucus say, hey, all 80 of us are not going to vote on this legislation, right? And here's why. And withhold your vote. And do not break. Do not have any stragglers. Hold the line. Because we've seen that just within the past couple of weeks, we've seen legislation pass with 7 or 8 Democrats crossing over. And sorry, I'm realizing I'm moving all over. Crossing over to vote with Republicans. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And so those are just some of my ideas, right? So paradigm shift, communication, clear communication, withholding pay. I think that should have been done a long time ago. I don't know why we are still paying these people a salary to break the law. And then I would also beef up the US court system. Incredibly so, because it just seems like the US court system is the only checks and balance that's really working right now. When we look at the executive branch and legislative branch, it's really the courts that's working. So those are my ideas. I might be at my time.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I will close out. Am I closing out? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So I will close out by saying that it has been it's just been an honor and a pleasure to run over the past 10 months to meet so many people in so many different communities. I know that if you give me the chance, I will promise you 110% every single day. I know I can do this. I know I can make you proud. And I am ready to be your Rottweiler in Congress. Thank you so much.